Week 6 is upon us. Let's talk about the power rankings. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back into the Bears Den, NFL podcast with the Chicago Bears First Focus. I'm your host, Alex, and today we are here to do the power rankings for Week 5. Video is a day late. Unfortunately, I was unable to get the video out yesterday, so today is actually going to be a doubleheader. I'm also going to be doing my game picks for the week right after this video, so both of these videos will be up today, and I apologize for not having an upload yesterday. With that being said, we've got some movement on the power rankings. And like I always say, and I will remind you once again, my power rankings, I do it based on what we have seen this season. I don't just base it off of what we think should be happening, based on how teams have performed in the past. I don't care about last year when we are talking about this year. This year is what counts. This year matters. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and jump into it. At the number 10 spot, I have the Green Bay Packers sliding down, I think, a spot or two from last week. Coming off a win, I have them moving down. The reason I have them moving down is because Jordan Love still is not playing up to what he was playing, up to the level of football that got him the contract last year. A really, really terrible pick six. He really kind of turned into Will Levis for that. So kind of like some abnormalities with his play so far. They are 3-2. They are tied with the Bears for third in the NFC North. I guess they're tied with Detroit too, who's also 3-2, but Detroit's 3-1 rather. They had a bye week, but I think Green Bay is a decent team. I think that they're obviously a very young team. I think they're very well coached, but my concern, if I'm a Packers fan, is one, the special teams with Narvison, the kicker. He has not been great, and as we know from the past, I know that I'm not going to base this off the past, but as we know from the past, that's an area of football where the Packers struggle, and that he could potentially hurt them down the road, right? And then, Jordan Love. What version of Jordan Love are we going to get? Because so far this year, it seems like we're getting the first half of 2023 Jordan Love. A lot of turnovers, a lot of weird kind of things. He had a great deep ball that's, if it was any other team that's throwing that deep ball in triple coverage, it's probably picked. But, because it's Green Bay, it manages to get caught. But, props to them. But, Jordan Love definitely has to clean up some of the football here, but I think that Green Bay is pretty decent team, and we'll see where they go from there. At number 9, I have the Bears above them, and I always say in here I do my best to be unbiased, and I know that some people think that people aren't going to be happy with that, right? That I have the Bears over the Packers, but I truly think that if the teams were to play this week, if they were to play on Sunday, Week 5. Or Week 6 rather. Sorry, I keep calling Week 5, but we're going into Week 6. If the Bears were to play the Packers Week 6 this week, I truly believe with all my heart that the Bears would beat the Packers. I think that the Bears obviously have one of the best defenses in the league. I think that their passing defense is rated number 2, and their secondary is rated number 1 in the league. And obviously they turn the ball over a lot, or take the ball away over rather, and I think Caleb Williams is really finding his stride. I think now that the Bears have a run game, an effective run game with DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson, the offensive line has looked much, much better. The Bears are looking really scary. And I know that, they're coming off of a big win against Carolina. But as I always say, good teams beat up on bad teams. They don't just win close games against bad teams. So I do think that the Bears are a good team. I think that, they are primed to make the playoffs if they can go ahead and kind of beat up on these teams in the soft spot of their schedule before the NFC North gauntlet. But I really like the Bears. I really like Caleb Williams' developments and what they're kind of doing with the offense. And I think Shane Waldron, the offensive coordinator, is really kind of finding his rhythm with the offense and with the team. And so I think the Bears are looking really good. And I think that they're going to get hot here over the next couple weeks. Number 8, another NFC North team. I've got Detroit. I can't really move Detroit too much because they had a bye week, but we know, with their double-headed monster run game with Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs is obviously very scary. Jared Goff's been playing some great football, and they have a really good defense and obviously a really fantastic coach in Dan Campbell. There's a lot to like about Detroit, I remember 2 years ago when they were on the come up, even I had a little bit of a soft spot for them because they've really been terrible my entire life. So it is nice seeing them do well. I think that, it's really cool seeing Jared Goff kind of, get thrown away from Los Angeles. They kind of gave up on him, and now he's really kind of been playing extremely solid football here in Detroit. And so I think they're going to be a good team. I think I was maybe a bit wrong on them. I thought for sure um, that I thought for sure that they were going to struggle this year, but so far it doesn't seem like that's the case. So Detroit at number 8. Number 7, Atlanta. Look, Kirk Cousins coming off a 509-yard passing game, bunch of touchdowns. He is finding his weapons in Drake London and Bijan Robinson and Darnell Mooney had a huge game against Tampa and Kyle Pitts and Algier and they look good. They look good. They look solid. I think Kirk's playing well, and that was one of the big concerns if people weren't believing in Atlanta this year. It was because of Kirk Cousins and how was he going to look after his injury, but he is looking solid so far, and they look like a pretty good team, and they're in first in their division right now, so they've definitely got a lot of momentum going their way. Number 6, Buffalo. Buffalo's sitting at 3-2. They've got a big game against the Jets this week, who obviously just fired Robert Saleh. I think Buffalo is a really solid team. I think that if they can get in the Devontae Adams sweepstakes and secure him, I think that's going to be huge as well. That would really, really benefit them. But I think that when Josh Allen plays a clean game and protects the football, they are one of the most dangerous teams in the league. I think they've had a rough stretch over the past couple weeks, but I think that they'll kind of get back on track. I think they're definitely one of the better teams in the league, and um, you know they when they are playing their game, they look very, very dominant and look like they could be the best team in the AFC. So we will see. At number 5, I have Washington. I think that like I said, I try my best to keep it unbiased. I part of me doesn't want them to be sitting at 4-1 at the 5th spot of my power rankings, but that's where they are at this rate in the season. Their offense has been electric, and they score on a ton of their drives. And I think Jaden Daniels has been playing some really solid football. Obviously, he has a couple completion percentage records and stuff like that. And I think he just won Rookie of the Week again this week. So he's been playing really well. I do have concerns about his style of play. I think he's a very one read and throw or run quarterback. And I think that defenses are going to catch on to that. But the way that he's been able to distribute the ball and really get guys involved, and now his connection with Terry McLaurin is really kind of coming online. They are looking dangerous, and look, I picked them to make the playoffs. I had them as the 7th seed, and they are sitting at 4-1, and they're leading their division. So, uh, you know, things are looking great, especially if you're a Washington fan. And it's just all really depends on Jaden Daniels' development and if he can keep this level of play up, and if the team can stay healthy, of course. Number 4, I got the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore was not on my power rankings for a couple weeks this year, but they are back. They are finding their footing, and they play Washington this week. And I think that Baltimore is going to win this game. I think that this is going to be the first real big test for Jaden Daniels, right? This defense. But I think that this Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry run game is filthy. I have Derrick Henry in fantasy. I'm really, really glad that I drafted him. He is still one of the most dominant running backs that I've seen in my lifetime. And man, when they are feeding him the ball, they cannot be stopped. And this is what Baltimore does best. Lamar doesn't have to be this quarterback that drops back 40, 50 times a game. They can just hand it off. They can pound the rock, and when he needs to go out there and throw and make a crazy play, he can do that. And I think that's really what makes them so dangerous. And so I've got Baltimore at 4. Number 3, I've got the Houston Texans. Look, Houston's had a pretty decent season so far, right? They've had a couple close wins, but it doesn't matter how close the wins are. It's whether or not you win or lose the game, right? And they're sitting at 4-1. They're second in the AFC currently, and they're just coming off the one bad loss to Minnesota, who is still undefeated. So it's not looking like that bad of a loss, right? I think Stroud is obviously one of the best quarterbacks in the league. We've known that. They've got a lot of weapons. Unfortunately, we saw Nico Collins just went on IR yesterday, I believe, but a lot of weapons, really solid coach in D'Amico Ryans, really great defense, and they are a dangerous team. They are a scary team, and I definitely foresee them making a deep run in the playoffs this year. Number 2, Kansas City Chiefs. Look, you can switch these two teams, Kansas City and Minnesota, right? You could flip them. I'm putting Kansas City at 2 just for now because I don't think they've played their best football yet. I think that probably in the long run, Kansas City is definitely the better team over Minnesota, but they haven't played their best football yet. With that being said, they're still 5-0, so that says a lot about obviously Andy Reid and Mahomes and the team, right? Like they're not playing their best football and they're still undefeated in first place in the AFC. So that says a lot, but I'm not going to put them at 1 just because they're not playing their best yet. And at number 1, Minnesota is playing their best, right? And so it's kind of like, you know, is this what's going to sustain for longer here, right? Is Kansas City going to be in a slump longer? Or it's hard. It's like it feels bad even kind of a slump because they're still undefeated. Or is Minnesota going to be this high power offense for longer, right? I got Minnesota at 1. Like I said, you could flip these teams, but Sam Darnold's still playing well. Kind of had a rough game against the Jets last week, but still got the win. The defense came in clutch, picked off Aaron Rodgers 3 times, and you know sometimes you don't play a great game, you still find a way to get it done, right? And that's what both of these teams are doing, and so that's why they are at my number 2 and number 1 spot. Those are the week 6 power rankings. I know I called them week 5 power rankings earlier. Sorry about that, guys. That was a mistake, but I appreciate you guys watching, listening, hanging out in the den with me. Please like, comment, subscribe. We're almost at 100 subscribers. I would really love to see if we can hit that before the end of October. I know that we can do it. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and I'm going to now record my game picks video, and that will be up shortly after this one. I appreciate you guys listening. Bear down, and we will see you in the next video. Peace.